President's own lead outside counsel, Rudy Giuliani, also seemed to concede that the vice president did not have the authority to decide the outcome of the election. Here's Mayor Giuliani's speech at the Ellipse rally on January 6th.
Every single thing that has been outlined as the plan for today is perfectly legal.
President's own lead outside counsel, Rudy Giuliani, also seemed to concede that the vice president did not have the authority to decide the outcome of the election or send it back to the states. Here's what White House Attorney Eric Hirschman said about his call with Mayor Giuliani on the morning of the 6th.
The morning of January 6th, I think he called me out of the blue, right? And I was like getting dressed, and we had an intellectual discussion about Eastman's, I don't know if it's Eastman's theory per se, but the VP's role. He said, like, I believe that, you're probably right. I think he thought, when we're done, that it would be something he'd have to consider if he was sitting on the bench, but he'd probably come down in that, you couldn't interpret it or sustain the argument long term.
Of course, the fact that Mayor Giuliani seemed to admit that the theory was wrong did not stop him from going before the crowd just a few hours later on January 6th and saying the exact opposite.
We're here just very briefly to make a very important 2 points. Number one, every single thing that has been outlined as the plan for today is perfectly legal. I have Professor Eastman here with me to say a few words about that. It is perfectly appropriate, given the questionable constitutionality of the Election Counting Act of 1887, that the vice president can cast it aside, and he can do what a president called Jefferson did when he was vice president. He can decide on the validity of these crooked ballots, or he can send it back to the legislatures, give them 5 to 10 days to finally finish the work.
Was there anyone in that conversation who, in your observation, had too much to drink?
Like Mayor Giuliani. There were suggestions by, I believe it was Mayor Giuliani, to go and declare victory and say that we'd won it outright.